I want to talk about Molex depinning tools, connector depinning tools. 2 sets, cheap from eBay. And they are for removing the pins from things like these. I recently saw an example of someone making very, very heavy weather indeed out of removing some of these, and I thought it was worth a short video on these tools. So if this is a hole through the connector, and then the pin for the connector runs through the center, sorry, I've made a, I don't know, connector something like that, there'll be little snags on here on the sides of the pin that are designed to stop the pin from moving that way when it's plugged in. The wire's usually off here somewhere. Rough drawing. What is it Dave says? I didn't have the time to paint it or make it to scale, but that's the basic mechanics of it. And the way that this pin will come out is either the cable's missing and it can be forced through that way, or the cable is still attached, or it can be grabbed with some long nose pliers and it comes out that way after these little fellows are pressed back in enough so they clear the plastic. And that's what these tools are for. So these ones here, I was having a bit of a look before, these are some of the hardest ones I've ever encountered. These are from a modular power supply and they have little tabs on each side, and I don't think the clearances are very tight. I don't think these sort of fork shaped ones will go in, but the tabs are on either side of the U, so I can just push that in there, apply a little bit of tension, which of course I couldn't do if the cable had come out of the connector. Bit of tension and out it comes. I don't know if you could hear that, but there's if there's a little bit of tension on this, as these get pushed in, it moves a little, makes a little clunk. It's like picking a lock. But the little tabs on each side are bent in enough so that it can pass out of the connector and it can click back in. You should be able to hear it. And that's it. These ones that are round are a lot easier, and we use these tubes for those. These tubes go on like the socket would, but pass up into the connector and fold the little tabs down. Of course it needs to be the snuggest fit, so just push that right onto the red one here on the end and just pull it out. That's all there is to it. Back in, snug. And as the lock-picking lawyer would say, one more time to show that that wasn't a fluke. What size was I using? Wasn't that size, was it? No, maybe it was a fluke. Here we go, blue. There we go. Push that right on and out it comes. Click back into place. Probably work my way across the whole connector. I mean, it's not good for them, but for the purposes of demonstration it's probably worth showing just how effective these tools can be. I'd be lost without them. They're inexpensive. They prevent the task of depinning connectors from turning into a painful circus. Yes, they're sharp. I have stabbed myself with them more than once. I've never used these fork shaped ones. They don't fit in these. They're, even the smaller ones, they're just too wide. But I suspect the moment I come across a connector that comes apart using these, I'll be pulling the little conductors out hand over fist rather than having myself a really bad day. So Molex connector depinning tools, inexpensive and effective, and it needn't be a struggle. For what it's worth, when I'm assembling these myself, I normally crimp them only ever so gently, just so that they fit into the connector properly, and then solder them in place with a bit of flux and clean them up nicely so that they're just right. And then I'll usually do the crimp around the insulation to act as a strain relief for the solder joint, and then won't try and squash the solder, it'll just damage it. And of course this is only for data and very low voltages, of course. So there we go, Molex depinning tools. The answer to the problem, and I can't see why anyone working with these sorts of connectors, given the price of these tools, I can't see why anyone wouldn't have them, and they can save an awful lot of heartache.